I'm going to have a look at perimeter, area and volume. Basically, perimeter is measured in centimetres, millimetres or metres. Area is in units squared, so centimetres squared, millimetres squared or metres squared. And volume is measured in units cubed, basically centimetres cubed, metres cubed, millimetres cubed. Now, I'm starting off here with circle-based shapes. Before you look further, make sure you know the difference in the radius, which goes halfway from the centre, it goes from the centre to the edge, and diameter goes the whole way. And two radiuses make up a diameter. Now, the perimeter is distance around a shape, the area is the amount of space inside a 2D shape, and the volume is the amount of space inside a 3D shape. Now back to our circle. The circumference is round the outside, and the formula for it is pi d, and you can remember it as CD. So C equals pi times d. The area of a circle is pi r squared, and then I have over here different 3D circular shapes. So we'll go for the cylinder because that's the easier one. The cylinder is the area of a circle times the height. So it's pi r squared times the height. We'll look at the cone next. The cone's volume. Basically, any shape that goes to a point is a pyramid, so a cone is a circular pyramid. And to find the volume of any pyramid, it's a third the base area times the straight up height, the perpendicular height. So the cone's volume is a third pi r squared times h. While I'm over here at the volume, I'll just give you the sphere, which is 4 over 3 pi r cubed. The sphere and the cone are given to you in the formula sheet at the start of the exam. Now, in area, I'm look here at the surface areas of these more awkwarder shapes. The sphere surface area is 4 pi r squared. Again, this is given to you in the exam. The cone surface area. Now, if you look at the shape of a cone, it's got the curved bit plus a circle in the bottom. The curved area is pi r l. Now, L is the slant edge, not the straight up edge, it's the slant edge. Plus, that's the base, pi r squared. The cylinder surface area, if you think of a cylinder, it's the curved bit opens up into a rectangle. The length of the rectangle is just the height, and the width of the rectangle is the same as the circumference of a circle. So if you look at the cylinder surface area, it's a circumference, which is pi d, times the height. That's the rectangular bit. The top and the bottom are both circles, so it's pi r squared. You've got two of them, so it's 2 pi r squared. Now, also coming in circles is sectors, which is like a fraction of a circle. So if you had a semicircle, you would divide it by 2. If you had a quarter circle, you would divide by 4, etc. So whatever angle in there, you put it over 360, and to get this circumference bit here, it's the angle over 360 times the circumference, so it's times pi times d. To get the full perimeter of this sector, you've got the curved bit, which is your angle over 360 times the circumference, plus the two r's, the two straight edges. Now, to get the area of that sector, it's the fraction bit, which is the angle out of 360 times the area of a circle. So it's a over 360 times pi r squared. Now I'm going to have a look at triangle-based shapes. There's two basically. The triangular prism, which is your Toblerone bar, which is the same shape the whole way through, or a triangle-based pyramid, so it goes up to a point. For these shapes, we'll have a look here at the volume first. The volume of the triangular prism is the area times the length that goes back. And the volume of the triangular prism is a third the area of the base times the straight up height. Now, area of a triangle, there are two you need to know. This one here is the more straightforward one, which is base times height divided by 2. Or you can use this formula. If you know the two sides and the in-between angle, you would use area equals a half AB sine C. On to our quadrilaterals now. are four-sided shapes. Square, rectangle, rhombus and parallelogram are all exactly the same. It's just the base times the height. But make sure it's the straight up height, the perpendicular height, and not the slant height. The trapezium is the four-sided shape with opposite sides are parallel and you have no distance between them. So to find the area of a trapezium, you add the opposite sides, divide by 2 and times it by the height. Volume of any of these quadrilateral shapes of a prism is the area times the length. It's exactly the same as for the triangle, exactly the same for the cylinder. And the volume of a pyramid is a third the base area times the height, which is exactly the same for the triangular prism, which is exactly the same for the cone. Now we tip here, to find the surface area of a shape, consider each face in turn and then add the total areas at the end. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do quite a few examples here. Find the area and perimeter of this shape. I always like to fill in any missing values before I start. 14, and that side's going to be 14. That side's 4, 12, 3, 16, 18. Now do this missing side in here. If that is 12 and this is 16, this bit must be 4. So to find the perimeter, quite simply, mark a starting point here and just add up all the sides. 14, add 4, add 12, add 3, add 16, add 18, add 4, add 14. And now I'm back to the start. 85 centimetres. Make sure you put that in centimetres. For the area, you just split it up. So split it up into 3 different shapes. Now, the area of this bottom rectangle is 4 times 18. So 4 times 18 is 72. The area of this rectangle is 12 times 3, 36. Now the area of this triangle, I need to find out more information. To do that, actually, I'm going to draw this triangle over here so I can see it nice and clearly. It's an isosceles triangle. This is 14 and this is 14. The whole base is 18. That's 4 and that's 3, giving you 7. So this base must be 11. I need the height of my triangle to work out the area. So what I'm going to use is Pythagoras' theorem in here. So splitting the triangle in half, that's 14, that's 5.5. Let's call it h. Pythagoras' theorem says, add the 2 at the right angles squared equals the other side squared. You want all your numbers on one side, so you'll bring that over and that'll be take away. So in the calculator, 14 squared, take away 5.5 squared equals 165.75. Then I want h on its own, so I will square root my answer to give me a height of 12.87. I can now find the area of that triangle. Area is the base times the height divided by 2. So in the calculator I still have that accurately, so I'm not going to wipe it. I'll just go times 11 divided by 2 to give me an answer of 70.8. And now pull it all together. So the total area is your triangle, 70.8, your rectangle and your other rectangle. And adding all those together gives me an answer of 178.8 centimetres squared for area. That was quite a tricky one. We had to work out the height there. The next one I have here, find the area of a circle. So I'm going to start off A equals pi r squared. I'm told the circumference, so circumference is pi d. I'm told that is 2 3/4 pi equals pi d. Should be a 4 there. So 2 3/4 pi equals pi d. So I now know my diameter is 2 3/4. So the radius is half of that. To try to work out half of that, I'm going to write it as an improper fraction first. 2 times 4 is 8, add 3 is 11. The radius is half of that. So if you're finding a half, you've got another 2 in the bottom row. So it's 11 out of 8. So my area is pi times the radius squared. So the area is 11 squared over 64 pi centimetres squared. If the question says leave it in terms of pi, you will leave it like that. If it says give it to a particular number of decimal places, you will have to work it out. And it'd be quite sensible to leave it to one decimal place there. Number 3. Find the perimeter and area of these two shapes. Now this one here is made up of a rectangle, which is 14 by 6. I'll just put in the missing sides. And a circle. We'll do the perimeter first. Both of these halves will join together to give you a full circle of diameter 6. So the circumference of a circle is pi times diameter, so pi times 6 or 6 pi. So the perimeter of your shape are the two circle bits, which is 6 pi altogether, plus the two sides and centimetres. Again, if the question asks you to leave it in terms of pi, you would leave it like that. If it asks you to work it out, you would work it out and give it some sensible answer, which would be 46.8 centimetres. To work out the area of this shape, you've got the area of the rectangle, which is 14 times 6, plus the area of a circle, which is pi r squared. 14 times 6 is 84. Pi, now remember, diameter is 6, so the radius is going to be 3. 3 squared. And I'll just work that out. 9 times pi equals, add 84, gives me an answer of 112.3 centimetres squared. And just watch your rounding in these, that you're rounding correctly. Part B. I'll do the circumference first. I've got half a circle. So the circumference of a circle is pi d. I've only got half a circle. I need to divide by 2. But I need to know the diameter here. I'm sure you can see the right angled triangle in there. So it's Pythagoras again. So to work out the diameter, you add those two sides equals diameter squared. So it's the two at the right angles. You add 16 squared, add 12 squared equals 400. So diameter is going to be 20. So circumference is going to be pi times 20. So 20 pi over 2, or 10 pi. So my total circumference, or the perimeter for the whole shape, is the curved bit, which is 10 pi, plus the two straight edges, 28. And again, given that as a sensible answer, is 59.4 centimetres. Now the area of that shape is a triangle, which is base times height divided by 2, plus the circle, but you've only got half a circle, so make sure you divide it by 2. So 12 times 16 divided by 2 is 96. Pi times, now remember the diameter is 20, so the radius is half that, so it's going to be 10 squared divided by 2. So 10 squared is 100 divided by 2 is 50. So 50 times pi, then add 96 to it, and the nice answer, 253.1 centimetres squared. Number 4. The area of a circle, so I like to write the formula out, is 9. So 9 equals pi r squared. I can work out r straight off from this. So r is the square root of 9 over pi. Find its circumference. Circumference is pi times diameter. And remember, diameter is twice the radius. So your diameter is 2 times 9 over pi. So over here, your circumference is pi times your diameter, which is 2 square root of 9 over pi. I'm putting that into the calculator. I'm going 9 divided by pi equals square root, my answer equals, times it by 2, times it by pi, giving me a circumference of 10.63 centimetres, or just 10.6 centimetres. Number 5, the circumference of a circle, again I'll write out the formula, is 92.6. So 92.6 is pi d. I can work out the diameter. 92.6 divided by pi is diameter. The question says find its area. Area